Here I come.
Was not expecting to come in here and see this.
Here I come.
Well, you ain't part of our gang.
I know, I don't know what table to go to.
I suppose the idea for this film was kind of born with my love of cinema and the Old West. Westerns were always my favorite genre. I was always fascinated with like people of color and women in the Old West that weren't subservient and that were just seen as human beings. And maybe about, I'd say, 15 years ago or something, right?
Yeah.
Me and Driss would be kicking it and I'd just be like, I want to do this movie. And I knew like, when I'm making a feature film, it's gonna be black cowboys and cowgirls. Probably about 15 years ago, it kind of became real where I could see the movie and I could see all these plot points and maybe because me and Idris was kicking it all the time, I was like, whoa, that guy would be wicked in a Western. And so
I remember when, James and I, we were working on a music project called The Bullets. And them times, it was about the music, but James had already world built this whole, environment around the music, the Bullets, obviously. And I didn't see the connection at first. He was like, the Bullets, and then, the Bullets, they die by dawn, the harder they fall. I mean, there's a whole entire world, and this is 15 years ago, as he said. And that journey, just seeing, this is where the genius comes in, is that journey, just pulling all these bits together to now, here we are with this film. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's magic. It's magic, actually. Yeah.
When I speak about it, and you be talking with me about it, and we'll be kicking it, like me, you, a couple other people, could you see it?
I could see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's in your eyes and it was in your passion, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't see it I didn't see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Black Cowboys, Western, okay, let's go for it. But this is something else, this is incredible, yeah.
So when you were seeing it, were you seeing it more along the lines of the Westerns that we're accustomed to?
Yeah, I knew that he was going to be true to form. That's the kind of person he is, you know what I'm saying? If he's going to take a genre, he's going to be true to the form. But just imagining it as a black cast fully and, you know what I mean, seeing the way it's hit the culture at the moment, I couldn't see that.
See it, right.
And it's not that I didn't believe in it, I just was like, okay, my guy, let's go.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. Okay.
Why do you guys think the genre has been so redlined away from minorities, specifically those of the African diaspora?
I think that, when I was speaking to Regina, she said she was never a fan of Westerns, right? And I think people, because the scope that we've seen these stories through has been so narrow, everyone just thought really they're not a fan of Westerns, so no one was really interested in making them. They really stopped being made. It would be few and far between. And then the ones that were being made weren't speaking to any of our experiences. And I don't necessarily mean black experiences. I just mean experiences. So I believe that the majority of people just grew up thinking, I just don't like Westerns. When in fact, if you love stories, you love any genre. You just weren't being given the stories and the viewpoints that you should have been.
What took you 15 years to do this? What held you back the most? Why now? What made this time different than 15 years ago?
My mum always says, nothing happens before its time. But in the words of Victor Hugo, nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. I don't think it took me long at all. You don't realize how much time has passed. And you just putting the pieces together. I made a short film, this and that and the other, and working on the music, and I composed the score, so as I'm writing the script, I'm writing songs, and this, that, and the other, and then life just takes its course. And before you know, all these years have passed, but it doesn't seem like it was that long at all. It was probably longer than 15 years, but it doesn't seem like it was that long at all. The harder they fought was being made.
Right.
We
wouldn't have all been here. I mean, it took all the time to go by so that everything could align. So this team,
that's real.
Can't imagine it with any other people.
No.
The whole world, we've seen, with the conversations, about us, our skin, our relevance, our culture, our placement in the world, how our culture has been viewed. this time is almost too perfect for this film to come out. It's just almost too perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like after the conversations have been said about how, you know, we've been marginalized, okay, we're not doing that anymore. And by the way, go check out this Black Western.
You know what I mean? Though? Also, I don't think that 15 years ago, any studio would have made this movie.
I don't know. I'm thinking about the origin story of it, and to me, the film being brought to this stage at this moment in time, as beautiful as it is, it still, to me, feels like it's a part of the vanguard. That it is a part of a movement. That it is. We are in some ways still pushing forward. You know, it's like. This film in this moment still, we are, to me, and maybe it's the Nat Love mentality, is we feel like the underdogs. You know what I mean? And so much, in fact, that it is an all-black cast in a genre where we have been completely kept out, right? But also, we do it in the middle of a pandemic. We have all worked really, really hard to get it here and to get to this room right now. It is a part of a movement. It is a part of a cultural, international, global movement. You know what I mean? And also, like, we are the avant-garde. This is avant-garde in a way. At least that's one of my takes on it.
I want to ask Eddie a question, right?
Well, before you do, I just like what you said, brother. Because
Thank you, brother.
what is criminal, what has happened to us in this genre, what they've done, how they've erased our very existence, how they've erased our very existence is criminal.
Yeah.
And as you say, we were not nourished. Watching Western, seeing us subservient, that's not nourishment for us. So now we're in a position where we get to rewrite or retell the true history.
Uncover
The true
Perhaps,
history.
yeah.
Because what they did was they took Jim Beckworth and they turned him into a white man in film. That's what they took our characters, they made them white. They erased us. So that's why this is significant right now.
Yeah.
Amen.
Eddie, like when I was writing like particular scenes, I'll be blocking them. This is years ago. I didn't have a budget or any interest in anyone's interest in the movie. And like you'd come to my hotel room and be blocking scenes with me, right? And it was a crazy thing, because then we're on set, and those exact scenes, I'll be using the blocking that we did. That was super surreal for me. How did it feel for you, going from like being in whatever rinky-dink hotel to being on set, doing the exact same scenes, having worked on the blocking like 8 years prior? How did that feel for you, that transition?
Well, I'll say your vision was so strong and it's clear. And this has lived with you for 15 years. And you would say something to me when we did all that resonated with me. You said, I've already shot the movie. This movie's already done. So I started to believe that. So as we're working, I know one day we will be on a set and we will be putting it together and we will be realizing these dreams to help tell these stories.
If anyone wondered how he got this cast together, they don't now. I mean, you truly are a visionary, and we never had to wonder where we should be or where we should go, because it's all there, and you've always given it to us so vividly. Exactly. You know, and there is something so exciting as an artist when you are able to learn something while you're expressing your art. And that's how it is whenever we're with you.
Thank you.
A director who has that clear of a vision, our job is just to step out the way and trust. And that's the kind of director that he was for me, is just to trust in his vision. He's been living with this for so long. And I love the combination of the real characters, because for anybody who doesn't know these characters, now they have a history lesson, education. They get to pick up a book and go, let me learn about Bass Reeves, let me learn about Nat Love, and be entertained by this movie, this fictional story with real characters. It's a deep thing, what you did.
Something I don't think we've said yet is, you know, one of the key phrases you use and that I really got behind is that this is not the Old West, that this is the New West. And in that moving to the frontier, I also think about the fact that we're all of African descent. And to my knowledge and to my experience, the African culture is a matriarchy. And so as we move into a new frontier, it is the matriarch that we build our families and our societies around. So it makes sense to me that we have, a Trudy Smith who is you own your business. We have a Stagecoach Mary, and I'll speak to the relationship between, in her absentia, I'll speak to that. Stagecoach Mary, who is very much the rock and very much one of the driving forces for Nat. We talked a lot about, he does all these things, but what he wants and what he needs is Mary, right? And that makes sense to me. That was like, okay, that's my grandmama, thinking about my granddaddy. I've heard stories about that. That's my mama. It was like, well, you got to go, man, and this, that, and the other, That amount of strength really allows for everybody to play in a way that wasn't so genre specific. It was very real, and makes it even more, and I'll say it, more black and more true to form.
Yeah.
We kind of,
remember.
we understand, but you go, because
I just remember that conversation. We had a conversation with, Regina and I, sort of just, searching the landscape of how we're going to play this, and we asking each other questions and, just throwing the words around. It was a private conversation. I don't think you were there. Or maybe you were.
No, I think we're just...
We were talking, and the big question came, right? Because, typically women are attached to some storyline attached to the man, all right? Typically, there's some love element to me, romance element, and Regina and I looking at each other like, so, what is this? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And I remember it was, for me personally, it was so refreshing that we didn't have to fall into those tropes,
That's right.
Rufus Buck and Trudy are partners, you know what I'm saying? And I remember we had this rehearsal moment and, I love Regina King, right? Any moment to be close, yeah? But we did this moment where, I see her and I sort of tip my head and I put my head on her forehead and that came out of a rehearsal, right? And it wasn't a romantic moment, it was just a moment of mad solidarity between actors, first of all, but also it just really, I think, embodied the relationship, like
Absolutely.
we head to head.
Head to head.
You know what I'm saying?
And also the fixing of your...
of my
wicked.
cup.
Yeah.
I came to set that day.
Yeah.
And I saw that. And I went, oh, that's wicked. That's wicked. Yeah, that was really great. That was really great.
Yeah.
Great.
It's actually one of the things that really attracted me to The Harder They Fall is that this was the first time I have seen this many women in a piece that was period, that they are not governed by anyone, not a child, not a man, not their parents. They exist on their own ideas and they're so different. Was that like intentional?
I mean, yes, it was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intentional. So with this movie, I was just casting the women after the women that I know, just the women that you see every day. I grew up in a hood. Like, women govern every single hood in the history of hoods. You trace whatever's happening back far enough, there's a woman at the beginning of that storyline, right? I just wanted to see a more realistic portrayal in the Old West. And also, there was real characters. Gertrude Smith. As we always say, there was not any information really on Gertrude Smith, apart from she rolled with Dolly Mickey, was a pickpocket. She's a pickpocket, wouldn't stop at murder to get what she wants. Wouldn't stop at murder? You mean she's a murderer and wouldn't stop at pickpocketing? So, but there was all these badass women. Stagecoach Mary, Cathay Williams, there was a bunch. Those were just black women. So for me, I really knew that it would enrich the movie to no end if we had those characters represented. But yet, even still for me, like being on set and seeing everyone, I remember one time when it hit you, right? When it hit you. I think probably you too, Gina, when the horses, we did a dry run of you guys entering Redwood, and the horses come through. And over the speakers, because I was playing music on set, right? Over the speakers, you heard like Dennis Brown's The Promised Land. And these horses riding. And I'm just in the zone and just watching and marveling at it. But when I saw your face experience it for the first time and your face experience it for the first time, I started experiencing it for the first time. I remembered what it's like and what we're doing, like, objectively. And I was like, wow, this is nuts. Or
James, I have a question real quick, man, and because I've heard this answer a few times, but you know, the cross section between reggae and westerns. I just want to hear. I think the world needs to understand how you did that, or what inspired that.
for years, when I think of the Western, I would categorize each Western by the music behind it, right? Because when they first started, in like the 20s and 30s, when Hollywood was like making them, they would have these songs. Like there's a film made in 1939 called The Bronze Buckaroo. And it's an all-black cast with Herb Jeffries. An all-black cast, but they had like $50. Like, it wasn't a Hollywood movie. It's just like some backstreet production, but it's beautiful. But the guy's playing poker in one of the scenes, and he's gambling. And he sings this song called Almost Time for Roundup. It's a beautiful scene. You can watch it on YouTube. It's called The Bronze Buckaroo. And he's like, I'm paraphrasing the words, but he's like, when the black man digs in the willow tree, almost time for roundup. When the sun sees the almost time for roundup. Almost time. And then the guy cheats. Almost time. Almost time for roundup. He cheats again. Almost time. Almost time. Bam! The guy dies. Everyone stops and looks. Here you go. Almost time for roundup. In the Bronze Buckaroo in 1939. That is genius. So the music went from that kind of style to jingling, 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 jingling. His name was Idris riding up the hill. And the aesthetic, like the choreography of the camera and the editing changed. And the Western would change. When the genre of the music changes, in those Westerns, so does the actual character of the camera, the edit, the color, everything. So I'll always categorize them by genres. My job as a director was to, as soon as the characters were cast, was to step out of the way and just let you guys breathe. Because everything you guys done, everything, I couldn't foresee. Like when I'm writing, I'm doing like really bad versions of you guys, and then you come in and just breathe a whole new life into it. Like every single, I couldn't envisage RJ Kyler's Jim Beck. I just knew this guy. I was like, this guy, man, he just, like a young Eddie Murphy in Trading Places or 48 Hours, right? Then we found RJ, and the rest is history, and everything you brought to that character, I could not see, like the gunplay, the swag, and the just the bars and everything you
And the
do.
dedication, too.
The dedication.
Yeah, the dedication.
He slept with them guns under the pillow.
I actually did. It was fun.
Like a G.
And then just to watch you on the skates doing
Oh, yeah. That's a
What?
sight to behold.
That was
What?
beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I ain't gonna lie.
What?
That was a constant thing. I used to put my skates on just like I put my gun belt on because it makes me kind of think about something else while the gun's in my hand. You know, anybody who is an actual, gun connoisseur, they don't really think about what they're doing. It's kind of like second nature, yeah.
right.
So when it comes to skating, I know I can do that in my sleep. So it's like, from how James explained it to me, he's like, look, you'll only be as good as you work hard enough to be. And I was like, word, you ain't gotta say that. I love hard work. So I went to the crib and it was like, word, skates, guns, sounds dangerous, but it's actually, they're fake, so it's cool. But neighbors didn't really like it. And then,
Passes by.
Yeah. Then it was cool. Like they just became my babies. Like
But it was just your coordination, man. Like, was unreal. One time, I said to you, you want something to eat? You want something to eat? You went, nah, I'm good. But my baby, she hungry. And he threw the gun in the air, kneeled down, caught it, went, let me feed her right quick. So I loaded the gun. Just bleed his nuts. I never saw any of that. I never saw any of that on the page. I just thought, he's really good with a gun, this guy. But I never saw what you were gonna bring to to that character. You just breathe life
I
into it.
appreciate you for letting me slide in the
Oh, man.
in the pocket.
Yeah.
Dion said he was faster than you, though.
Probably
Sure said that.
Probably if I'm
say that.
dead or something. That's the only time you can be faster than me is if I'm dead.
Hey, man, I couldn't get him out the holster.
Oh, shit, hold up. One more time, please.
I didn't know they was that heavy. I was like, man, he's so heavy or whatever, you know. But this was something that I dreamed of doing, like as far as like going outside of the norm. And I've always had that in my head to like, everybody know I'm a do stand-up or whatever. So I always thought to myself, like, you know, even me being a comedian, I let down so many people. Because when they meet me, they come around me and they think I'm joking all the time, and I don't joke. But I'm just, I don't know, I'm just more of a thought-provoking kind of comic and guy. You know, I like to sit back and just observe and soak everybody's energy or whatever. And I just knew that in my mind that I can play another person if somebody just gave me that chance or whatever. So, I mean, all the scenes to me that I was allowed to do was incredible because I had a scene with everybody, and to work with y'all was like insane to me because my whole mentality changed on that set. Like even, it started with Jonathan. Because when I came on set, I was kind of like, hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? And I seen everybody like, hey, how you doing? So, and everybody was really studying, and I was like, oh shit, it's real. You know, like, let me chill. And I seen how Jonathan was coming at me, because that was the first scene I did with him, and the way he wasn't acting. And that showed me, I said, oh, so the job is not to act. Like, we call actors, but you shouldn't act. You know what I mean? And I was learning that from him just in rehearsal. And they went cut and they were setting the camera up, and I went back to my chair and I just changed up everything that I was gonna do. And I came back and I said to myself, I'm gonna be just as dead as he is. I said, I wanna stay below him and be as dead as he is. And if I do that, it'll be believable. And then with you, I was like, I'm gonna be just as dead as she is. And with you, I was like, as long as I just stay right there. And with you, I was just like, as long as I stay there, then that's where I think I need to be at. And it made it special, each scene, because each one of y'all had a different energy. And like I said, I've never been in that situation before. And with his guidance, it made every scene incredibly special. This just wasn't no movie to me. This was something bigger than anything that you could think of.
What you just said right there, you made me laugh, but I got emotional just thinking about the boldness of his decision to cast you and to give you that opportunity to have the vision that you could do what you did. And how smart was it for you to pick up on the energy of the other actors? And your performance in this is terrific. I mean, you did your thing.
Thank you.
And I'm just so proud of you, and just hearing that is an inspirational perspective.
I mean, for me, this is the biggest thing I ever did. I just lost my mother, and it's my mom wanted to see this movie, and she knew how hard I was like trying to go for this, and so that's why I'm telling you, it's bigger than, you know, this for my mom wanted to see this. I want this movie to shine so I can.
What's your mother's name?
Charlene Cole.
It's for Charlene.
Yeah, and so I want to like carry her name on.
She'll be proud of you, man. Real talk.
Thank you, man. I appreciate and thank y'all too, man. For real. I'm sorry, y'all. My fault. It's us. It's all good. My fault. But yeah, I'm
For
sorry.
Charlene.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And for the world too, because I mean, this came from James's mind. He directed this film. He wrote the script, and it's bigger than James. And James knows this. It's bigger than anybody at this table. This is something for us. This is something for the world. We are ushering for a history that needs to be retold. We got to reshape how people view us in this society moving forward in film. film is over 100 years old and we've been kept back. So this project, to me, is bigger than everything.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited that tonight is the premiere and we get to watch
Yeah.
this be birthed into the world.
I just wanted to say I'm super proud of everyone at this table for our contributions. But James, I wanted to say, man, like the fact that we get to open the London Film Festival with this movie, open the festival, my guy,
what I mean?
that's an achievement. It's one you should be proud of, you know what I'm saying? We know these streets really well.
Real
and we never
well.
thought one day our film would be open in a festival
Crazy.
that's based here, man. So
Crazy.
I big you up.
My brother,
You know what I'm saying?
for life.
I love you for that, man.
Love you, brother. And tonight, this crap, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like. But I just want to see, like, my brothers and sisters, literally and spiritually. I just want to see all of us there, man. And you know what I mean? We spoke about it for so long. You know, the pandemic came and no one saw the pandemic happening. And you know, to go through all of that and then to shoot in the pandemic and for us to be at the premiere, like, all together, it's the most amazing, like, spiritual thing. This has been in my head since I used to watch my dad watch Cowboys. I used to be like, okay, where are we? And then we're here today. And my dad's with us, and so is your mum. So is Nat Love, Stay Church Mary, Trudy Smith, Rufus Buck, Jim Beckworth, Bill Pickett, everyone. We have I believe this film has so much spiritual advisors and angels watching it, which is why I couldn't really make a mistake. It was always going to be dope. It was always going to be The Harder They Fall. But tonight,
It's on.
we ride. Regulators! Round up!
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Netflix Film Club channel to get our latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.